everybody, to our energy talk here on Skype Live. This is free for everybody. Most of you audience here live are part of our Sacred Self-Healing community, where we do regular online meditations here daily, sometimes twice daily, energy talks, workshops, study groups, and even a Course in Miracles discussion group. So welcome to this energy talk. Today I would like to mention that we have programs here at transCODES that allow you to internalize your spiritual experience. And why this is relevant here for this energy talk, I'll get to that in a minute. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and trainer of other energy healers. And over the course of the last 15 years, I've built a platform here for individuals, healers, and people who are interested in consciousness work, to learn how to approach spirituality in your life with the conscious study of all these esoteric and spiritual concepts, so that we can learn to think and feel and choose for ourselves. Yeah, so last Wednesday we talked about why we even want to be spiritual, and today I want to explore with you how to integrate spirituality, spiritual thinking, spiritual feeling, spiritual, choosing or doing, basically spiritual living into our practical life. And there are some issues with this, as many of us already know. It's very similar to, let's say, healthy living, right? We all know that, a healthy diet and exercise and all these things are, desirable for us. Why? Why is it desirable for us to have a healthy weight, to feel fit, and, to do the necessary maintenance, to keep our physical body in shape, because we want to have a good quality in life. We don't just want to get old, we also want to experience life with, the needed life force and inspiration, the motivation and the curiosity to explore what life has to offer to us. And the issue with this is that, we all kind of know that this is good for us, but we're not doing it. Or we are doing it in a way that is not applicable for us, not feasible, that just doesn't really work on the long term. So we can do diets and, lose weight temporarily, and those things are all very good. We can do all kinds of exercises, join gyms, do different kinds of yoga, different kinds of cardiovascular, aerobic trainings, and so forth. And all that really dies off with our overall life force, our overall motivation. So here I would like to make the connection for you between your life force, your motivation to live and to explore, and your ability to follow through, to make the right choices that allow you to, really create this for yourself and, live your, I don't even dare to say it, highest potential, because it's been so watered down and inverted over the last decades. But there is something to this. We want to enjoy life. We want to be happy. We want to feel alive in all these different aspects of our lives, be it our physical, our emotional, mental, our social, our, connection with others, our self-esteem in our job. We want to feel a certain purpose. We want to feel that what we do is, somehow significant for others. We want to feel connected and maybe create something. And for these goals, which are very, very good goals, we need to establish a certain level of values and virtues throughout our life, such as, you know, integrity. Yeah, we heed the laws that our societies have. We heed sort of the moral standards that our societies have, and then we, become this. Yeah, so it's not just about being a law-abiding citizen or being, you know, a good person in other people's eyes. It's about, it's about a certain level of sincerity, Sean. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That allows us to define ourselves as that kind of being that we want to be, that we want to become. Yeah. And spirituality is about those kind of, yeah, I want to say questions. Yeah. Who am I? Who do I want to become? Yeah. Who do I choose to be in this life? And how can I do this? This is what spirituality is. And all these goals that we're having, such as love, peace, togetherness, happiness, yeah, creativity, those are all spiritual questions, my friends. Yeah, so when we talk about spirituality, we're not talking about woo-woo and we're not talking about religion. We're talking about the human need to understand him or herself, to understand the world, and to find a place, yeah, to be able to form a roadmap so that we can navigate through this life with purpose, with meaning, with joy. Yeah. And today, and I guess every generation has their apocalypse, but today it seems particularly difficult to find any of these virtues, yeah, in ourselves and in others, especially. Yeah? When we talk about, these legal and moral standards, and we talk about integrity, and we talk about consciousness, and we talk about discernment, yeah, we talk about immaterial values such as faith, love, hope, yeah, charity, tenderness, togetherness. Whenever we hold these things in mind and in heart, we are fundamentally, engaging in a spiritual process. And what we have not been taught, and you guys know that I have a school here in Orlando, an elementary school, kindergarten through fifth grade, where I'm trying to remedy this. We have not been taught from childhood on to find ourselves in this. Granted, we all have developmental stages where there's certain things in the foreground that we need to tackle, yeah, where we need to, get along with our bodies, and then we got to get along with our egos, and then we got to get along with our peers, and then we got to get along with, sort of what we, want to do in life. Those are all things that take up quite a few decades in our life. But if there was one person, that would tell us from the get-go, right, that we are fundamentally a spiritual being, yeah, a soul that is having a physical experience, a lot of our perception, yeah, around, love, relationship, job, yeah, community, and society would be very different if you think about it, because we would look at things from a perspective of, I would say, like wholeness, yeah, holistically, yeah. So it would be almost logical, almost like a non-brainer for us that in order to have joy and inspiration and happiness and good relationships and sort of meaningfulness in us, we need to learn how to do this. Yeah, we need to learn how to integrate this into our daily lives. So while our societies are still struggling with resources and material things and power and borders and holding on to this old paradigm of the fittest survives, this sort of idea that we always have to sort of stay on top of everything. We have to submit everything that could potentially be a threat in order to thrive. We will not actually arrive at a place of conscious, healthy, happy living. Yeah, this is my thesis here. Yeah, that with this material-based perception of life, we cannot arrive at goals that are fundamentally spiritual in nature. Yeah, this is almost like common sense. Yeah, so happiness is not a material question. Meaningfulness, connection, love, peace, those are not material aspects of life. Those are immaterial aspects of life. And, we say immaterial just because we use the material as a reference point. But if you use the spiritual as a reference point, then you could just as well say that peace, happiness, love, and peace and joy and creativity, the good and the beautiful in this world, is all there is that we need to focus on. And the material aspect is just sort of on the sideline. So let's go back to the issues that we have with healthy weight and healthy body. Okay, if we were to see ourselves primarily as a soul with a physical body, we would understand that the physical body is the carrier of all that we are striving for, of that higher potential. And everyone who's ever been, or maybe observed people who, live their life sort of in this robotic, automatic, unconscious, materially oriented way, until they retire, and all they're doing and all they're choosing and all their motivation is just about owning, increasing material security. And by the time they retire, they're so sick that they cannot really live it anymore. Anybody know people like this? Yeah. So the idea, of reviewing and investigating, what it is that allows us, to integrate all these spiritual values and spiritual goals into our lives, is what we need to make a priority. Not just do a little bit of yoga and do a little bit of meditation once a week, or, show up, at workshops or read books. No, these are good starting points. But that's the same with diet. You can read a million books about diets. You can even read books about metabolism and research studies, and it will do nothing for you if you don't live it, if you don't become it. Immaterial goals in life, such as love, relationship, peace, happiness, meaningfulness, purpose, creativity, beauty, they cannot be accomplished through knowledge. Now, knowledge can be a wonderful tool, because if you know what refined sugar does to your body, or if you know what alcohol or, drugs or certain medical procedures, etc., there are certain products that you can buy, food products, cleaning products, hygiene products, what they do to your body, yes, it may become a lot easier for you to make better choices. So knowledge does serve your overall process of becoming healthier, of becoming more spiritual, but it does not do it. And here comes the question for you. What in you does it? What in you does spirituality? What in you is spiritual and comes to an expression through a certain activity? What in you? Yes, it is in you. It's an intrinsic part of us. I don't want to discuss this anymore, guys. Yeah, we don't need to really investigate whether spirituality is good for you or not. Yeah, there's been hundreds of studies, and I don't think there's any serious scientist that disagrees with this. Sorry if if I'm missing something here, but mindfulness and spirituality clearly are benefiting our physical, emotional, mental, social, and also our overall well-being. Yeah, so just, by the way, got a lot of birds here chiming in today. Yeah, so if you hear this noise in the background, this is all the birds around me. So what in us does the becoming? What in us embodies our spiritual desires, our spiritual longing, our spiritual striving? How does it express, guys, in your practical life? This is a question for you. A very important self-reflective question. And by the way, spirituality, just like science, yeah, is signified by asking questions, investigating, because it is something that we have to, well, almost like earn. Yeah, we have to earn our own levels of happiness, and all that I've mentioned a few times now, that basically make us spiritual. We have to earn this. We have to contribute. We have to actively participate in it. It's not going to happen by itself, even though we all have this intrinsic sort of God spark or spiritual spark or, divine molecule in us. What or how do we express it in a practical, everyday life? I'm going to have a sip of
Gra-
espresso.
gra-
Hang on, we cannot hear you, Sean.
oh, sorry. Hi,
Oh, now
Jona.
you go. Yes.
Just gratitude. And I mean, sincerity has come really clear in for me just before the session tonight because of all the stuff that's going on. It's hitting on my identity points. So I think really just taking myself out of it and then knowing I can come back here, it's just, yeah, it refreshes me. So that gratitude of the connections that I'm choosing, I think, is what the breadcrumbs is. So there you go. I've answered my own question.
How do you integrate that in your daily life? I mean, how much, I don't know, percentage wise, yeah, measured in time, maybe how many seconds, minutes, hours a day do you spend in that state of gratitude?
Some days it's all day, and lately it's been like half a day and then half a day of crap shooting, you'd call it, and then it's like just little things like seeing these baby little birds being born. I just know when I get to these crappy shooting times, I need to go out in nature more. And then I really find that gratitude because it's calling me. But then, yeah.
What I hear you say is that you're making a comment that it's increasingly difficult, yeah, to will yourself to stay in that state.
Thank you.
I suppose, due to our outdoor things, yeah, that you processing, that you're
Thank,
dealing with, that you're
thank
picking up on,
you.
yeah, and really, what I'm hearing you say, because you have the right intentions, Sean, you have the right ideas, and you even have the right tools, yeah. But what I hear you say is that it's increasingly difficult to hold the focus, yeah, to actually, you know, just like how people complain that do diets, that at some point it becomes, really hard to keep up the discipline, yeah, for whatever the reasons, but it is the same mechanism in us. Yeah, when there's outer factors or sometimes also inner factors, such as what you mentioned, the current, I suppose you're referring to the current crisis in the Gaza
Correct. And
area, that it hits
I've got a
identity
double
points.
whammy. Yeah,
Sorry?
it's double whammy.
Yeah, so it hits identity points with you. So, that is like a double whammy. Every time a certain issue that is basically floating around in mainstream media that hits our personal triggers, so to speak, yeah, it becomes much more difficult to maintain our own focus. All right. And if we actually investigate, yeah, these media wars that are going on, yeah, what it is that we are being bombarded with on a day-to-day level, then we can actually come up with the theory that the reason why it's increasingly harder for us to hold our own sort of present moment awareness is what you described earlier, yeah, to go inside and actually feel something from inside, yeah. And we can come up with the theory that the more bombardment we experience from the outside and the more this is triggering our personal trigger points, yeah, the harder it gets to be spiritual, right? Yeah. Why? Because we're getting pulled into our emotional or mental or conceptual inner conflicts. You say it hits an identity point in you. Do you want to let us know here real quick in what way, just so that we have an idea? So, Gaza, Israel, how does this hit an identity point with you?
It's okay. I've got family in Israel,
Okay, right there,
I,
understandable. Hmm.
and I'm not connected to them. Haven't been for years. But what I realized through what you're talking and going into myself is that I thought I had the shitty life and how shit their life must have been and how victimized they are. And it's changing everything I'm seeing and feeling. And this is where the sincerity is coming right
Okay,
back in.
interesting. So you've experienced a perspective change through that, yeah. One that is not so self-centered, yeah, where everything is just about your suffering and your misery, but you're now seeing that there's other people's misery and people that you connected with that is your family, even if you don't have a good relationship or not, doesn't
But
matter.
thing
Still,
is, my gifts run in that. It's me just holding back on it. It is my
mm-hmm.
gifts are in that. There's a teacher and a student in me with that, and it's like I'm holding off on it. I'm like, how long can I hold off on it? Because I actually have so much love, and it's just,
Okay,
and I
so
get
here,
affected, and my love can get turned into hate, and that's when I get worried about me because, with so much capacity to love, it can go the other way, and I own that. I have to own that shadow part.
so that's a really good point that you're making there. Okay, because we talked about how it is getting increasingly more difficult to hold, that which we would like to embody, that which we would like to foster, to cultivate in us. And you just said that you have so much love in you, but it can also turn into hate. So when it comes to what these trigger points in us are, I want to emphasize here what I said earlier. Trigger points are aspects in us that are conflicted, yeah, that are ambiguous, where we have some kind of cognitive dissonances within. Now, you just said something that may sound valid, but upon a deeper look, you can see that it's actually not really true. You say you have so much love in you, it can also turn into hate. Is this really like this? That the more love you have, the more potential hate you have? I'm not sure if I'm subscribing to that. However, I can see.
No, no, curious. I'm so curious where you're going with that. Wow.
Hmm. Yeah, so this is just this is really different paradigm thinking, yeah, and
Yeah,
applying
you're more
spirituality, you know.
interested now where you're going. Wow. Thank you so
Hmm.
much.
So just because you have so much love in there doesn't mean that you also have more hate in you. Now you mentioned shadow aspect, yes, and shadow aspect is a big part of our, you know, psychological and a developmental process where we have to uncover, we have to make conscious the unconscious. Why? Well, because we have these trigger points right there in these shadow aspects, in these inner child aspects, in these karmic aspects that are not resolved yet. All the unfinished business in us. Yeah. And the remedy for that is to make it conscious. But just because I have a lot of love or just because I have a lot of pain doesn't mean that I also have to have a lot of hate or a lot of healing in me. Okay. Neither causes the other. Okay. The question that I asked earlier was exactly about that. Well, what in us does that brings our spirituality, our virtues, yeah, our goals, our, sort of higher vibratory desire into expression? Which part in us decides that? I mean, wouldn't it be logical that if we want to, you know, make it easier for us, yeah, and we've already discovered that the terrain, yeah, that the outer conditions making it increasingly harder right now. Okay, so even more so, yeah, how can we strengthen that part in us? Would it make sense to ask what that part in us is? When we want to know first, okay, how to do it right, yeah, you see, when we get pulled into, the desperation, the dullness, the fearfulness, the loneliness, and the meaninglessness of life. That means that there is something in us that isn't working well. It means that there's something in us that drains our life force, that drains our inspiration, that drains this part, that God spark, or, whichever word you have for this. So wouldn't we, and this is not just for you, Sean, obviously, but wouldn't we want to know not only what it is in us, but also how to strengthen that? Yes, we all have this potential. We all have, many of us have good intentions. Most people want to live a happy, peaceful, joyful, meaningful life. But the tools they're using to accomplish this, like terrorism, throwing bombs, threatening others, excluding others, demeaning others, don't really work that well. And we don't really need to discuss why this doesn't work. Yeah, this is a non-brainer for those of you who are interested in how to integrate spirituality in your life. But it seems that as we are observing that it becomes harder and harder for us, that we don't have this figured out yet. Which part in us, yeah, can help us to stay in what John presented here for us, yeah. And this is just one example. He mentioned gratitude, yeah, the state of gratitude and the state of inner love. Yeah, so as we are observing that it becomes increasingly harder, wouldn't it be logical, yeah, to increasingly work with this? I mean, if it gets increasingly colder, the temperatures, if they get increasingly colder outside, wouldn't I then increasingly care for, warmer clothing? Yeah, or equipment that is needed, like a heater or, blankets or something else, to remedy that. Yeah, to maintain my needed warmth. So we talk about all these words such as, God spark and illumination and awakening and ascension and 3D and 5D all the time. Yeah, many of you are very well versed in all these things. You've read a lot of books, you went to a lot of workshops, and you watched a lot of YouTube videos. So after all this knowledge that you have accumulated, I want to ask you again, what in you is it that expresses your spiritual connection, your spirituality? What in you does it? What in you, and you could name organs, you could name, I don't know, parts, life areas, activities, I don't care. How do you cultivate, how do you integrate spirituality into your life? It is such a simple question, guys. I'm not asking for the right answer. I'm asking you how you do it.
For me, that something shifts in me and I can just move on to something else. But until I do that and identify it, it just keeps looping. So that courage to do that, I think, and actually allowing it as an adult, wow, saying, hey, inner child, step back. I can do this because I can, reflect. I've been doing it in other ways. I can reflect on this too. So, maybe that, you know.
Yeah, I heard you say, I heard you mention two tools. One is self-inquiry. Yeah, you
Yes.
said, you have to figure, you have to kind of feel it. Yeah, what this adversarial force in you is. Yeah, what is working against it. That's the first thing. You have to like feel within and recognize, oh, there's my inner child, or there's my identity and my ego issues, or there's my this or this or that. Okay. And the other tool that you mentioned is shifting out of it, shifting your energy, consciously saying to yourself, well, it's all fine and dandy, and yes, I have an inner child, and yes, I have trauma, and yes, I have all these things from the past, but I do not want to stay there. Yeah, I do not want to stay in the pain of the past or the fear of the future. I, hear me, boss, I, the capital I in me, yeah, steps up and says, all right, sorry, yeah, but we got to move on. Okay, so if we stay too long in that pain, if we stay too long in that fear, if we stay too long in that dullness or apathy, or don't want to look at it, don't even do the self inquiry, how could we ever shift out of it? So, allowing is the third tool that you mentioned in these two sentences, Sean. Yeah? Self inquiry, allowing, and then shifting. So, where do we get stuck, guys? Where do we get stuck in our everyday life? What makes it so hard, yeah, in our everyday life to express or to act on our spiritual desire or spiritual will? What makes it hard? Yes, Carol, we're getting there in 1 minute. This is where it's all leading up to. What makes it so hard? Where do you get stuck? And if you're watching this on
Doubt.
YouTube, please comment in the comment section where you get stuck. Okay. Sorry, say that again, John. Doubt. That's a good one. Could you give us an example of what this doubt may sound like or feel like? in you?
Oh, it feels like my
Because there's so many
parents.
different kinds of doubt. What are you doubting?
It feels like it. Uh, I think I'm doubting like why I'm having to play out things that haven't played out yet. And I had a little moment with myself at 11:30 my time. I thought, oh yes, Jonas. I thought I'll go within, and I thought, Sean, just let things play out. Just let them play
Okay,
out.
so you doubt that, whatever it is that you expect or desire to manifest is possible. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And actually, one of my darknesses is creativity. I wanted to bring it up with you quickly. Is I don't know why I'm scared to be creative. It's almost like I feel I'll be like melted in, like that witch.
All right, so you doubt that fundamentally you doubt that you can manifest what it is that you want. Yeah, that's the doubt. So, and that's a very common doubt. We doubt that we are not good enough, or that we don't deserve it, or that we don't have enough time, or things like that.
You
Okay.
know where I feel it comes from? Sorry, Yona. I feel it. I feel that now. Wow. When I'm talking to you, I feel, wow, no, wow, this is possible. Great. It's when I'm going out in the world and comparing myself to other
Yeah.
people. Not even
There's your
speaking
shadow.
to them.
That's your
I'm
shadow.
not saying
Yeah.
words to them. And it's like, what
That's
is
your
going?
shadow. Has to do with idealizations. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you
So
so much.
doubt, we get stuck in doubt. Where else can we get stuck?
Hi, Jonah. Just related to that, I agree with everything Sean said. And also, I'm feeling hopefully, the last bits of maybe begrudgery and jealousy. It's hard to admit that, but that comparing myself and thinking, I just should have that by now.
Mhm.
Or it's been too, it's been
And
so
what does
easy
it
for
cause in you?
them.
So the being disgruntled,
Mm.
um,
And feeling like, disgusted at myself for having those feelings.
okay,
But
yeah, okay,
that's very strong for me. Yeah.
and the disgust, it's a form of hatred. Okay, I mean,
At
it's just
myself for
yeah,
feeling like
it's
it. Yeah.
well, no, just in general, the energetic quality of jealousy, disgruntlement,
Yes.
and disgust. It's a
Okay.
form of hate. It's just just on a lower level. Okay, so if you let
Yeah.
this build, you end up at hatred.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So the point being here that when we feel that we get stuck there, okay, and we talked a little bit about remedies earlier. Sean brought this in. We have to shift out of it. Okay, so when
Yes.
we get stuck there, that means we somehow can't muster the energy to shift out of it. Okay, so when we compare ourselves with others and when we have issues with identity and expectations, that always leads back to externalization. It means that we are defining ourselves through the feedback that we get from the outside. Okay.
Okay.
A simple remedy for all the problems that fall into this category. Yeah. Doubting yourself, basically not liking yourself. Yeah. And criticizing yourself, everything that comes with negative inner self-talk, is to actually stop externalizing who you are. Yeah. Stop, getting this confirmation of who you are from the outside. And this is,
Okay.
if you will, the core of spirituality is that it's an inside job. The core of spirituality, no matter what we were taught by organized religion, is that this is innately in us. Okay, our identity, our individuated soul is in us already. We do not need others to tell us who we are. As a matter of fact, they don't even have permission to do that. Nobody can tell us who we are, not even the dark forces. Okay? But
Brilliant.
if we give our power to the outside, well then we are giving it to that kind of darkness. All right. So the remedy for that, yeah, for getting stuck in hatred, self-hatred, is to claim that back. and say, I might be at the low end of, what a good person or a good human is. You can talk to yourself that way. Yeah. I'm not up there. I'm still in training. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I know who I am. I know who I am. Yeah. That's very important. Because if you externalize your I, that means you don't know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, if you're not claiming who you are, well, something or somebody else will.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bore you with this, but I have started saying this with every workshop, every lecture, every energy talk. The way dark forces operate, guys, since we've had in-depth, investigation of the nature of dark forces here in the last months, is that your refusal to say no, your refusal to claim yourself is being taken as compliance, as being taken as a yes. If you do not claim yourself, it's being taken as a yes. Got it? So,
Yeah.
guys, stop externalizing. Go back to the October forecast. Go back to the cosmic intelligence alignment. It's all coded in there. This is serious now, like Sean, like you mentioned. There's a certain level of seriousness to this now. Okay, but that's a very good and very, very common place, Emor and Sean, to get stuck at. Yeah, a form of self-hatred, and that comes through dark forces working through. Yeah,
Mm.
and the way we comply, the way we sort of, without being conscious of it, is that we externalize our sense of self. And that is why the first and most important way to express our spirituality is to claim our being. I'm not kidding. This is the
Mm.
first step. That's why so many people right now get lost on the outside. Okay, and we've already identified factors in that. We have all these, these trigger things, yeah, that are coming in through mainly media, yeah, and the way we interact with one another, yeah, no matter what it is, yeah, whether it's health, whether it's the planet, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, money, nations, okay, you name it. Even in spirituality, we are being bombarded with controversies. Yeah. So this is the core, guys. You have to claim your soul. Because if you do it, something or somebody else will. And it's not going to be funny because you're going to drift off into more and more self hatred and apathy. And the remedy is making the unconscious conscious. It is not that you want to be dark. It is not that any of you guys don't understand what darkness is. It's that you don't realize through your unconsciousness how you are conforming, how you are complying with what is going on in our society. So you comparing yourself with others and ending up in doubt and self-hatred is a form of conforming.
Wow.
It's the agenda. All right, where else can we get stuck? Okay, we've had doubt, we've had hate, including self-hatred. What else? Where else can we get stuck? The biggest one that almost everybody, including myself, gets stuck in from time to time.
Expectations.
No, that's all externalization. That all has to do with
Sorry, I'll have to do
doubt.
more work on that.
Mhm. I mean, it goes hand in hand, but I mean, obviously, expectations can lead to other things. The big one, the four-letter word. Where we,
Self.
Yeah,
Fear. Fear. Fear.
yes, fear.
of course, fear.
Fear of what?
Hello.
Fear of, oh my God, what would the others think of me? Oh my God, what am I going to do if I can't pay for my apartment? Oh my God, what am I going to do if the world is poisoned? What am I going to do if World War III breaks out? What am I going to do if this president or that?
Yeah.
It's part of the agenda, okay, to keep you busy with those kind of things. They're all relating to the future. They're all relating to the unknown. And to keep you in the unknown, I talked about this at length during the pandemic. Yeah. To keep people in the unknown and to constantly bombard them with the uncertainty of lives, okay, leads to free-floating anxiety in people and very high levels of cognitive dissonance. So fear is one of the core, dissonances in us, because we all have to admit at some point, that we're going to die, which means there is a programmed fear of death in all of us that we cannot deny. Okay. And all I really got to do, if I'm like a dark force, and, media and military and pharmaceutical industry and food industry and land and water is all mine, all I got to do is scare you guys and you're going to do what I tell you to do. All right. That's how this goes. Just saying. So, fear, doubt, and hatred. How can we make ourselves more conscious so that we don't get stuck in fear, doubt, and or hatred and all the stuff that comes with it? Well, I brought in the analogy with diets, with food. Yeah, we all have the intentions. And then we find ourselves eating the bag of chips or the gallon of ice cream or the chocolate cake or whatever it is for you. All right. How can we cultivate, how can we foster this part in us? And you still haven't answered my question, guys. Which part in us does that? If there is an organ, if there is a part of us that is responsible for overcoming fear, doubt, and hatred, which one is that?
The heart,
My
the
heart,
heart.
my
Yes!
heart, mine.
How? Sean, you were the closest one when you said gratitude, but that's just a tiny piece. How can we overcome fear, doubt, and hatred with our heart?
See life growing. Just see natural life growing as the stepping point,
Right.
and then adding to it, and
Okay,
then
growth.
adding to that, and
Yeah,
then
growth.
adding to that. I think that's my fear, is that how far will it go? So,
Embracing growth. Embracing growth and contributing to growth in all ways, which includes creativity, by the way.
yeah. Oh, wow.
What else? How else does our heart help us to overcome fear, doubt, and hatred?
There is no end to the amount of love in our heart. So I know when I am having those moments of feeling, evolved, and I send love from my heart to the people who I perceive as having hurt me most, and situations I feel like a being not of this earth in a good way. So I feel if we can
Because it's
spread
in
the
you.
love from our heart, yeah, yeah.
It would be nice if you could send it to yourself too. That way, you
That's a
wouldn't
good
have to.
point. That's a good point. Yeah.
That way you wouldn't have to get stuck in hatred, in comparison, because sending it to others is also a form of externalization. There's nothing wrong with sending it to others, but for it to be genuine and then for it to be a mutual exchange, which is also part of what the heart actually does, as a spiritual organ, okay, at the mutual exchange, and forming coherences with others and so forth, there needs to be a flow, okay?
Yes. Receive and give.
Okay, so we had love, we had gratitude, we had creativity, we had growth. What else? This should come out of you like a never-ending stream, because you studied this, right? You have read so many books and listened to so many YouTubers and went to so many workshops and did plant medicines and you do yoga every day. You should know this. And what you're experiencing right now, this blank in you. You guys feeling a blank in you right now? Me,
Yeah.
asking these questions and being a little more intense about it?
Yes. But I think the word connection comes to mind to me.
Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. 100 million times connection.
And I
With
know because of all the failures, which is amazing, to now know to gravitate towards different people, places, and things. But I've got a fear for that. It's insane.
so you're stuck in fear. That's the simple truth. Okay. And for as long as our environment is promoting fear, yeah, on all these different levels, you're gonna have to, like, roll up your sleeves and put on your boots and be a little more conscious about this, guys. You're gonna have to do your part to strengthen your heart. And a technique that I would like to share with you, that I have shared on many different occasions and that we're practicing here in the Sacred Self-Healing community. It's described in the workbook of the 24 steps, and it's something that we practice with every energy session that we do here in our group form and with every meditation, is called IAM breathing. It's a very simple breathing technique, but it is coming from someone like me who has spiritual vision, with etheric vision. Yeah, it is not coming from studying, Vedic traditions, for example. So I realized that I am breathing is a very fundamental yogic technique. Okay, it's just called differently, and it doesn't matter how you call it. But I'm going to tell you what it looks like in the etheric. Okay, and with this recording, I'm going to put a link where you can download the worksheet, for what it looks like and how these dynamics are. Okay, so every religion, every spiritual and esoteric and occult teaching, yeah, in the history of mankind, has been developed at a certain time with certain conditions. Okay, we are here in the 21st century with very specific conditions that have never been there before. And all I can tell you, yeah, from my studies and from my personal observation, what I can see in the etheric, this is what we need to do to strengthen our heart. And we run into the exact same problems that we run into with breathing itself. We all breathe. We all breathe, right? You're breathing right now. But how conscious are you actually breathing? Not really. So you go to yoga classes, so you study, these breathing techniques. Yeah, I don't even know any kind of alternative healing modality that does not include conscious breathing. So we're going to do conscious breathing, yes, but we're going to do a specific kind of conscious breathing, which allows us to claim our identity, which allows us to claim who we are, which is the I am. The I am is a sacred code. Yeah, is something that when you say that out loud in the etheric, not only repels dark forces, also forms a shielding around you, and guess what? Allows you to extend your etheric, which is equal to your life force. Yeah, beyond the current or existing boundaries, which are your restrictions. So when somebody's caught in fear, their etheric is very, shrunk, very small, yeah, and raggedy. And when somebody is in hatred, okay, it looks extremely ugly. And when somebody's in doubt, they have no boundaries and they just look like I don't know, um, it's like sort of it proves away the power that this person has. All right. So when we do conscious I am breathing, we are not only, and this is the thing that we are experiencing first thing, in that first stage with any conscious breathing, is a form of clearing and a form of grounding. Yeah, because when you start, do this diaphragmatic breathing, and when you use your whole belly to breathe, and you actually get oxygen in the lower parts of your lungs, your body is yahooing, okay, because you're giving your body so much more oxygen. Okay, so this is a really, a cool experience when you begin to consciously breathe, is that you have first of all, this effect of clearing, so you're losing some of the burden that you carry around with you, and at the same time, you're uplifting your physical. Okay? 20 seconds it takes. 20 seconds for someone to experience some kind of shift. 20 seconds of conscious breathing. And now, if we do the IAM breathing, which is, developed by me, based on what I can see in the etheric and thousands of energy sessions, okay, is that we have to pull in the energies, the excess energies from above and the excess energies from below. And this is counterintuitive because most of you don't want to pull these things into your heart. You don't want to use your heart because you think your heart is this little volatile, vulnerable, sentimental piece of you. That is not what your heart is. Your heart is the most powerful spiritual organ that you have. And I want to say, the way it looks like in the etheric, it's way up there, way up there. The human heart and the human consciousness, the heart and soul and spirit that goes with it, is way up there, guys. And all I can say is you better become aware of it, okay? Because others are out there to trying to take that away from you because you don't even know what it is, okay? So during the IAM breathing, you pull all these excess energies into your heart on your in-breath. Then you allow your heart to invert it all, yeah? So there's a 0 point in your heart, in your heart center, the center of yourself. And some of you can actually work this on all 3 dimensions, X, Y, Z. I teach these things in the energy course, by the way. The next energy course starts on December 2nd. And then you allow your heart chakra, this is the organ inside your heart field, that metabolizes all these energies at the center of your chakra system, to invert it all. And as you exhale, you expand it as far out as you can. And when I do this with kids, I always tell them, even when you think that all the air is out, I do one more push. Because, you really want to get the old air, the used up air, out of your system so that you have more space for fresh, new energy. And guess what this does to your life force? It increases your life force. And guess what happens when you increase your life force? Your light begins to shine brighter in the etheric, yes. And guess what happens when your light shines brighter? Woohoo! You can begin to see things from a different perspective. Your perception changes. And guess what happens when your perception changes? You see more solutions. You see new ways, new approaches. You become more creative. You can think more in terms of growth, more in terms of gratitude, more in terms of forgiveness, more in terms of love, more in terms of peace. You can make better choices. That's how we shift our energy. And that is something that everybody can integrate into their daily lives. Now, there are certain things such as holding your focus and holding your space, etc., that, need to be trained. And, there's higher consciousness and higher spiritual vision that need to be trained. Those faculties are all in you as a potential, but you need to train it. Just like, if you want to become a runner, or if you want to become a martial artist, or if you want to become a power lifter, you have to train that every day. Okay, so we started out our discussion here as how can we integrate spirituality, and it took us 45 minutes to figure out which part of us is actually responsible for it. Okay, so that we can express it. And now, here at the end of this energy talk, I'm showing you, I'm going to demonstrate to you how this I am breathing works. And those of you with etheric vision, you can watch what happens with my etheric. But most of you don't have this, so I've created tons of, courses, training courses, infographics, and all kinds of pictures and visualizations that can help you with this. I'm going to post here so that the schematic there, and you can study this on your own. This is free service if you would like to get the download for it, and look in the description for the video later. All right, and now I'm going to do exactly what I just said I was going to do, and there's two versions of it. First, I'm going to do the silent version of I am breathing. The silent version of I am breathing is something that you can do at any moment in time. Laying down, walking, talking to other people, being in the middle of a conversation, watching a video, whatever. You can do this at any time. And this is how it goes. Okay? All right? Most of you probably prefer to close your eyes at first, because if you have to work with a visualization, you like to close your eyes to fade out the external distractions. Later down the road, you need to learn how to do this with your eyes open. Okay, so I'm going to do this with my eyes open now, so that you can stay in contact with me. So it's really simple. You just take a moment, focus on your heart. So you got to remember that your heart is your spiritual organ. Yeah, it's the part in you that does that. So you say, hi, okay, focusing on my heart. That's it. And now I want to take a very, very conscious in-breath. And as I'm breathing in, I want to visualize my energy is 3D, not just sort of flat and not just in front of me, but also behind me. So like a sphere around me. And I want to picture it as, breathing in from all sides. Breathing in from all sides, especially from above. That's all you're thinking. Yeah? And from below, that's all you're sensing and you're emoting. Yeah, because that's why most of you guys are not trained enough to master that yet. Yeah, so hold it, and then you breathe it out. Sideways. First, you picture it as sideways. Later, I want you to add the three-dimensional component of it. Yeah, so sideways, basically into all directions. All right, let's do this again. Focus on your heart just for a moment. Sort of sink into your belly. Take a deep breath. Pull in energies from below and above. Hold it. And right when you think that you've already breathed all the air out, do one more. Again. Focus on your heart. Breathe in. Hold it. Now one more time. Now I'm going to do the kid version of that. This is something that I saw in Diane Albar's books and videos. It's very, very beautiful. Those of you who teach social emotional learning, check out Diane Alba. Focus on your heart. Breathe in. Smell flowers. Blow bubbles. Smell flowers. Blow bubbles. Smell a flower. blow bubbles. I just love that. So the technique is very simple, but a lot of things happen, and this has to do with your perception, because at first you can see it just sort of 2D in front of you, and it's very important that you recognize that the center of you is actually not here, but in here. Okay, yeah. So your true center, and then the non-silent version, the spoken version, is actually the fortification of you claiming your identity, of you, yeah, basically sending out into the universe that you have recognized what you are by saying I am. The hard part, the tricky part about this vocal version of the I am breathing is that you're going to have to voice the I as you breathe in, which sounds a little bit like this. I. Sounds a little eerie. And many of us, especially women, have a little bit hard time making these kind of sounds. So you're going to have to practice that in silence, maybe. So as you breathe in, yeah, from above, from below, I am. As you breathe out, you'll say the word am. Let's do this together. I am. I am. And don't forget to really extend your belly when you breathe in and say the I. This is tricky. You need to practice this a little bit. Why is this so important right now? Last week I showed the thymus thumping or thymus tapping, to activate your endocrine system. All right. And this time I'm showing you the I am breathing, which is fourth chakra, and the vocalized I am, the claiming your identity, which has to do with speaking truth. Clears out your fifth chakra. So we're dealing with this section of your chakra system here. Obviously, we're dealing with all chakras. I'm seeing the human chakra system as 14 layers, which is 12, including the divine masculine and divine feminine, or plus the divine, the alpha and omega. All right, and so as we are focusing on clearing out and strengthening this part in us, we are forming a very, very important etheric shielding, that will help us to get stuck less in fear, doubt, and hatred, or to shift our energy out of fear, doubt, and hatred. Okay, and this has to do with the current conditions that we have. So in our ongoing workshops and in our study group, we continually investigate the deeper aspects of this. So here, out loud, my invitation to join our Sacred Self-Healing discussion and meditation and work and talk group. Yeah, it's free for everybody. The link is in the description. And those of you who would actually like to learn techniques or would like to learn the different steps of spiritual initiation and go through these processes with me as your coach, as your navigator, okay, check my website, transcodes.com, because I have lots of courses, programs, individual and group sessions there that can answer all the questions that you have in you, including why do I get stuck in hatred? Why this, why that? All right? And show you ways that you can do, that you can experience from within yourself through various modalities. All right? So with this, I need to close now. I hope that this is assisting you in getting out of these stuck places. I hope that you feel inspired, inspirited through these energy talks. Don't forget to push the like button. And I hope to see you again very soon. Next session coming up here is Friday night, the shadow clearing. This is a group energy healing and training session. And then my monthly energetic tune-up, which is an energetic clearing session with a live reading right after in a group setting. Yeah, very popular. Or if you want to do this and integrate this into your daily life, then check out my energy training club. Yeah, this is like the offering of like 25 sessions a month, yeah, where you can just jump on, just like in an energy gym, and join those ongoing sessions and talks and workshops. I love you guys. Yeah. See you soon.